Welcome to It's Good to Be Smart. I'm your host, Dr. Dave Mulder. I love to learn new things, and I hope you do too, because it's good to be smart. Today, we're diving into the heart of the matter, the properties of matter. Matter is all around you, and guess what? You're made of matter too. But what exactly is matter? And what makes one type of matter different from another? Stick with me. By the end of this episode, you'll not only understand what matter is, but also how atoms are the key to all of its amazing properties. Let's start with the basics. Matter is anything that has mass and takes up space. So you can think of matter as all the stuff in the whole universe. Yep, that includes solids, liquids, gases, even you. Whether it's the air you breathe, the water you drink, the chair you're sitting on, it's all made of matter. And as you might already know, every type of matter is made up of teensy tiny particles called atoms. Atoms are the building blocks of everything in the universe. Think of atoms kind of like Lego bricks. You can combine them in all sorts of different ways to build something new. And here's the thing, the different kinds of atoms that substances are made of help determine the properties of that substance. And these properties can be divided into two categories, physical properties and chemical properties. Let's break it down. Physical properties are characteristics that you can observe or measure without changing the substance into something new. For example, the color of an apple, or the density of a gold bar, or the way you can crinkle up a sheet of aluminum foil. These are all physical properties. Chemical properties, on the other hand, describe how a substance interacts with other substances. For instance, is it flammable? Can it rust? These properties tell us how a type of matter behaves during a chemical reaction. Okay, let's jump into our imaginations to think about what physical properties are like. Picture yourself holding something solid, like a chunk of metal. How would you describe it? You might feel that it's hard, and heavy, and dense. Maybe you'll notice that it's shiny. That's called luster, a physical property. If that metal can be stretched into a wire like copper, it's ductile. If you tried to bend it and it doesn't break, it's malleable. Gold, for example, is extremely malleable. You can hammer it into incredibly thin sheets without it cracking. But not all materials are malleable. Some, like glass, are brittle, meaning they break or shatter easily when stressed. Now, let's consider liquids. If you were to pour a liquid from one container into another, you'd notice that it takes the shape of the container, but keeps its volume the same. That's because liquids, like water or oil, have a definite volume, but no definite shape. That's a key property of the liquid phase of matter. Gases, on the other hand, have neither a definite shape nor a definite volume. Think about helium filling a balloon. It expands to fill the entire space available. But if you push on the balloon, you can compress it, the gas inside of it, unless you push too hard and the balloon pops. So properties like color, texture, even the phase of matter, whether it's a solid, liquid, or gas, are all physical properties of the matter that make up a substance. But different substances also have a variety of chemical properties. So what are chemical properties? Well, in the same way that physical properties let us describe what a substance is like physically, chemical properties describe how a substance reacts to other substances. For example, have you ever heard the phrase playing with fire? Flammability is a chemical property. It describes how easily the substance can catch fire. Wood is flammable, but water? Not so much. Reactivity is another chemical property. For example, iron reacts with oxygen in the presence of water to form rust, a process called corrosion. Or consider acidity. In other words, how much of an acid is the substance? Or maybe you've heard of toxicity, which describes how likely a substance is to harm living things. There are lots of ways to describe how a substance can react chemically with other substances. And now here's the mind-blowing part. These physical and chemical properties of matter all come down to the types of atoms the substance is made of and how those atoms are arranged. Take diamond and graphite, for instance. Graphite is the black stuff inside your pencil that you write with, and diamonds are valuable gemstones. They have very different physical properties, right? But here's the thing, they're both made entirely of carbon atoms. The difference is in the way those carbon atoms are arranged. In a diamond, the atoms are arranged in a rigid three-dimensional structure, making it one of the hardest materials on Earth. In graphite, the atoms are arranged in flat sheets that easily slide past each other, which is why it's so good for writing on paper. Chemically, the two substances are very similar, pure carbon. But even though diamond and graphite are both made of carbon, because their atoms are arranged very differently, they have wildly different physical properties. Before we wrap up, here are a few surprising facts about matter. Did you know that aerogel, often called frozen smoke, is one of the least dense solids ever created? It's so light it could rest on a flower without crushing it. Or consider this: mercury, the only metal that's liquid at room temperature, has such a high density that even a small amount of it feels surprisingly heavy in your hand. And here's a fun one for science trivia lovers. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe, making up roughly 75% of all normal matter. All the other elements, iron, oxygen, copper, helium, gold, carbon, and all the rest, make up just 25% of the matter in the universe. So there you have it. Matter's incredible, diverse, and all around us. Its properties, determined by its atoms, explain why substances behave the way they do. Understanding the physical and chemical properties of matter really matters if you want to understand how matter works. Thanks for joining me for this episode. Hey, nice work leveling up your brain power today. Remember, smart isn't something you are, it's something we become as we're learning. So keep listening, keep learning, and keep getting smarter every day. It's Good to Be Smart is created and produced by me, Dr. Dave Mulder, with the support of the National Science Foundation through a Robert Noyce educational grant. Subscribe to this feed so you'll never miss an episode, and check out our home on the web, goodtobesmart.com. And until next time, keep asking questions, stay curious, and keep learning, because it's good to be smart.